Welcome to the Stack Bites podcast. My guest today is Robert August, founder of North Star Synergies, and quite simply, one of the most accomplished figures in the history of American real estate marketing and sales. Robert has spent nearly 50 years building a legacy in real estate, helping merchandise over $50 billion in property, training thousands of sales professionals nationwide, and earning the Legend of Residential Marketing Award from the NAHB, the highest honor his industry offers. He's the only person ever to win NAHB's top sales and marketing honor twice. Today, he's here to share what nearly half a century of building, training, and selling has taught him, and what he thinks every agent and broker needs to hear right now. Please welcome Robert August. To start off, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and then explain and give us some background on North Star Synergies and give us a little context about the company?
Sure. It's a pleasure, Kyle, to be with you today. What a privilege and a pleasure to work with you in your podcast and hopefully educate your 17,674 listeners. And at the same time, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce North Star Synergies. Our corporation is local here in Metro Denver, national and internationally acclaimed marketing, management, and most importantly, sales consultation firm. Throughout the years, our companies were founded in 1983. So for 43 years, we've been delivering excellent service to our listeners and to our customers throughout the years. We've also had an opportunity to develop real estate. We've specialized in creating master plan communities throughout the United States and in certain parts of the globe. Presently, we work in 10 countries with builders, developers, manufacturers, and vendors, and help them scale and grow their businesses, in addition to service companies like architects and mortgage companies and banks and related financial corporations.
Amazing. Appreciate that. And I actually want to get into your sort of your origin as well, and even further back with your family. So let's go back to the beginning. You come from a family of entrepreneurs growing up in the wine and spirits business and being the fourth generation of a family business founded back in 1891. And your father was also the chairman of the board and president of your companies. And going back even further, your great-grandfather had bought his biggest competitor, which was established back in 1823. So what do you actually remember about watching your father and your family being in sort of a family of entrepreneurs? And what did you absorb just being in that environment that no classroom could ever teach you?
Yeah, it was very interesting. Growing up, I learned, the basic principles of sales if you're going to be successful. Developing trust, respect, and rapport. Treating everyone with as much kindness and consideration as possible, and developing along the lines the best customer service along with the best products that you can offer the marketplace. And never believe that you're established. Never believe that you're established until you've sold your last product or service. That was one of the hallmarks of my father.
That's amazing. And you'd mentioned, great customer service. I think that goes a long way, especially in industries like real estate, where a lot of people are public facing, client facing, and, have to speak person to person. Whereas now with technology, we're kind of transitioning, unfortunately, away from that. So that's a great lesson to kind of take away. And you can apply that essentially to a lot of different fields too, just, outside of real estate.
Absolutely.
So you started your career in economic development. To kind of name off some achievements as well, you're named Economic Developer of the Year in 1979, as well as Marketeer of the Year in 1981, before you're even 30 years old. You also founded 2 county economic development councils. So for someone who became synonymous with new home sales training, that's an unusual beginning. But how did economic development shape the way you think about real estate marketing?
I'm glad you brought that up. To be forthright, we actually, after I realized that the family business path was not going to be best, I moved into real estate construction management and worked with the largest home builder in the United States at the time in 1972 with 214 builders. And I was in the customer service department with a group of folks where we handled complaints of all things. And I learned how to negotiate properly and take people who are all upset and very negative and turn them into happy campers.
Mm.
And I had a formidable background as an undergraduate student in labor management relations that was taught from a humanities perspective. And in learning all about collective bargaining and negotiating, I was always taught at home in the family business as well as academically, everybody has to win. There are no losers in negotiation. And if you can master that, you'll be a very successful individual. And fortunately, I learned not only pragmatically through Ridge Homes, but then I went to shortly after that, I had the opportunity in working with Ridge Homes, having worked in the family business, to go back to graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And once you know that I got another degree in management, this one was in international management. And I learned more about negotiating and more about business development. And as a result, was able to parlay that through my business development experience.
Amazing. And I know before you'd mentioned internationally, your company's international. And with this new sort of graduate degree, what were the differences between sort of the international sales that you've conducted as well to compared to the domestic here? So what kind of does the client look like overseas internationally? Is there a big difference in terms of strategy when you're, selling something to somebody internationally as opposed to here domestically?
Uh, I'm going to surprise you. And I didn't answer the question before about economic development. And let me just say that one of the key factors uh, in transitioning,
Mhm.
I probably should tell you this. In answering your question more directly about international sales, frankly, it's the same as domestically. What you have to learn about is the culture of the market with which you're working in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't assume anything. You have to do your research. You have to use the chambers of commerce. You have to use the economic development councils. And in your background, other trade associations. For example, in my world, there are home builders associations. There are home builders associations worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And so our sphere and also boards of realtors that relate to not only residential, but also commercial, retail, light industrial, et cetera. And so the more that you can look at each individual market and get to know, and this is important, get to know the movers and shakers in each market, you're going to be able to define that local market. Now, in the United States, for example, we have over 300 major markets. And you can't do, certainly in Los Angeles, what you would do in Savannah, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do in Savannah, Georgia, what you would do in Fargo, North Dakota. So, what you have to do is learn about each of these markets before you undertake the opportunity to present a new product to the marketplace.
That's a great point. Hadn't really thought of that in terms of the different markets. Obviously research is a huge backbone to a lot of that. And you mentioned the couple examples of Fargo versus some other cities, right? It's probably vastly different. That just kind of shows how how valuable research can be before you go into it. Just knowing each market and how unique each one is essentially. Um, so I want to go into a little more accomplishments as well. So in 1986, you created the first centralized parade of homes for the Home Builders Association of Metropolitan Denver. It won the NAHB's #1 Public Relations Campaign Award, and then eventually became the national industry model that everyone uses now. So can you walk me through how that idea came together, and what were builders doing before that you thought was so broken?
Okay, so let's take one at a time, one question at a time, if I may.
Sure.
What really was interesting, we had in 1973 oil embargoes that took place,
Mm-hmm.
and the cost of gasoline went up to the equivalent to well over $10 a barrel. It went down. And then in 1980-ish, oil embargo started to be created again because there was another international concern. And the federal government came up with a program to create tax incentives for improving all of the real estate in the United States.
Hmm.
So whether, let's say, weatherization, uh, fixing leaking windows and doors, making sure there was no air intrusion, increasing insulation, improving the roofing and the siding of any building. And as a result, I was approached by the National Research Energy Laboratory, which in those that was in Golden, Colorado, a federal Department of Energy group. And originally, the group was called the Solar Energy Research Institute.
Hmm.
And they approached me and they said, "Can you do a parade of homes for us?" And I said, "Yes, I can do that. But let's bring in the local home builders association that's part of the National Association of Home Builders to add value to the marketing process." And they said, "Oh, that's a great idea." And then I recruited 10 builders from lowest to highest product. We created 10 homes scattered throughout metropolitan Denver. And in 1981, when we opened the door to this program, how many people do you think we attracted to learn about energy conservation?
Probably not too many, right? In the beginning.
Over 125,000
Oh
people.
my gosh. Wow.
Our builders sold hundreds of homes, and we received acclaim and media coverage, not only from the United States, but all over North America, in Canada, Mexico. We had groups of people studying us and what we did in Europe.
Hmm.
And as a direct result, we were able to educate the population throughout the national media on all of the bullet points that are necessary to tighten up these buildings and create more energy conservation, uh, especially with the oil cost, the gasoline opportunities increasing.
Hmm.
And we were as much as the equivalent today, upwards of $13.50 a gallon in 1981, if you can imagine.
Wow.
And so what's interesting is that time is relative. Yet, if you spoke, I mean, people are having issues around the United States. Certainly, California, where you reside and work, is more expensive than almost anywhere else in the country.
Hmm.
So, being able to teach people about energy conservation was very, very important. And so, from what I had learned in putting that program together, we were going through a very, very difficult time. There are four states called the Colt states: Colorado, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Texas.
Okay.
So the acronym of COLT was those four states. And
Hmm.
they were states that derived a lot of their income from the oil and gas industry.
Right.
So, with oil going down in price at that point, it became necessary to some of the folks that we worked with to continue telling the story. And one of our developers had a gas moratorium for 2 years and
Hmm.
stalled one of their economic development communities. There was a master plan community of commercial, residential, retail, institutional development. And they came to me and they said, "Can you create a parade of homes to help tell the story of the association?" The market was off. In that time period, we were so oil and gas centric that we lost approximately 600,000 people in the metropolitan area of Denver. And these gentlemen wanted to create a rejuvenation program
Hmm.
for economic development, if you will, of their real estate holdings. And we put together a parade of homes for them and achieved tremendous success. And all the builders prospered. And this one, instead of being scattered, was a centralized parade of homes.
Hmm.
So what we were able to do is have all the homes in one community.
Oh, I see. Okay. Was there a point, or what point was it where you kind of learned that this idea is going to be a lot bigger than you initially thought? Or was there ever a point where you it kind of surprised you in terms of how quickly or how much popularity this idea kind of created?
Uh, Another great question. As a marketeer, all of us are very optimistic, and we try to be realistic with our anticipated sales absorption numbers, both for attendance as well as for the direct sale.
Mm-hmm.
But we, at the same time, we're realistic in paying attention to research. And we found in each of these programs going into them that there was a tremendous demand. There was a pent-up demand. For example, uh, we had gone through tremendous growth through the very beginning of '83, and then we started to experience a sharp decline. And by 1986, as I shared with you, we had lost so much population, and it was very difficult to sell real estate. So we realized that this pent up demand was being created,
Mm-hmm.
and whether what was important to us, it wasn't so much about everybody buying a new home as it was about people taking care of their existing real estate. And I had learned that uh, growing up in the family business, where my great grandfather had developed a very strong real estate portfolio. And one of the things that I learned through my father when the Depression hit, unlike my father's competitors in the real estate industry, who were just giving their properties back to banks, my great grandfather took a project manager with him and went from building to building and basically said, I want you to stay here no matter what happens to the economy. I want you to stay here. And if you can pay us, great. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't pay us, we understand. What I also want you to do is every time that something goes wrong, I want you to call our project manager here and let him know so he can arrange a team to come out and help overcome the problem. And my father tells a story about how his uh, peers in the business told him he was crazy. And you know what happened after the Depression? His real estate was worth more than anyone else's because it was in better shape.
Mm-hmm.
Henceforth, all the way through today, the moral of the story is take care of your real estate, and your real estate will take care of you.
It's a great lesson. Very great lesson. Um, I want to transition now into the actual craft of selling and kind of what actually works from your perspective. So I know you've trained thousands of real estate sales professionals over your entire career. When you walk into a sales office, either a small brokerage or even a builder's model home, what are the first two or three things that you see that tell you this team has work to do, sort of improve on? And then what do most agents get wrong that they don't even know they're getting wrong?
Well, let's go back. Let's do the first question.
Sure.
So
Um,
one walks into a sales center, a discovery center, a real estate for sale with real estate brokers,
mhm.
whether it's new or existing. That it's really interesting. We've learned to pay attention to all the little things. For example, if you're going into a new community, is there trash strewn throughout the building sites? Are the sites immaculate? Is the entryway are the monumentations in? Is the landscaping completed?
Mhm.
Are there flowers? Does it look like a place where you'd want to live yourself? Or a community, or is this a community that can become a neighborhood? Uh, and you drive forward. Is the signage in place? Is the signage clean? Is it well presented? Is the font readable? Are the colors correct from sign to sign? And you notice little things like that. Uh,
Mhm.
and then you get to the sales center or discovery center, and you begin to question the same thing. And you note the cars that are there, the type of cars. Do they meet the demographic profile of the product that's being sold? Both not only the demographic, but the psychographic.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, you then walk into the sales center and you experience a sales process. How quickly does a salesperson get up and meet you? Do they let you wander around without interfacing you? Are they working with another couple and they stop working with that other couple because they see you? So they should never give up on the couple that they're presently with.
Mm-hmm.
Other fact that when you're demonstrating to them about the general information about the community uh, or the marketplace, you might say to that couple or that individual, I'd like to, Kyle, do you have a moment? I'd like to meet this other couple and educate them about what we're sharing with you. And would you like that? And
Mm-hmm.
Kyle would say, sure, that's fair. And there's another tell, and this is interesting. When buyers are talking to buyers or in a sales environment, they will
Mm-hmm.
share more information with each other about what they're looking to accomplish than they will with the salesperson.
Interesting.
So if I were the moderator and you, your bride, and maybe another individual or a couple, whatever they may be,
Mm-hmm.
I would pose questions to both of you and ask you for answers. I would say, having met Kyle and your bride, I might say, what do you think of the number of bedrooms in a home that are important to you right now? And then I would turn to Phyllis and George and I would say the same thing. And they would start giving answers. So, if I were in the bleachers looking at that, that would be important. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing that's important, how does a salesperson treat the buyer? Are they giving them undivided attention? Are they answering the questions properly? If they don't have an answer, are they saying to the prospective buyers, "Gee, I'm glad you brought that question up. Let me write it down." Another thing, and get back to you. Is the salesperson doing everything from memory, or is the salesperson taking copious notes? So it's all relevant to understanding the nature of a building environment and what the sales process may be. What's also interesting, wonderful author by the name of Janet Elsia, who's written a phenomenal book called The 4 Minute Sell. And I advocate that to the nth degree. You
Mm-hmm.
typically know within 4 minutes of whether you want to work with somebody or not.
Wow.
So the just the way that they treat one another. I mean, I look for what we call tells, or information that will help me better understand you.
Mm-hmm.
And if a husband and wife are not collectively together, and the husband wants to be Mr. Macho and talks down to the wife, I don't want to work with him. If they're treating their children very poorly, I don't want to work with them because I know that number one, they're not nice people. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, they're going to be very difficult to work with. And and when you get into initially high maintenance individuals, the likelihood that you're going to succeed is very, very small percentage. So
Mm-hmm.
focus on nice people. Most people are very, very nice. It's usually the 3 or 4% that are yucky, and stay away from them.
So there are essentially signs that you can see in somebody or characteristics of a person that you meet within the first 4 minutes, essentially that you could tell if you want to work with them or not.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. Don't have to read that book. um,
Well, in addition to that, again, I spent a lot of time as an undergraduate student in
mm,
industrial psychology and industrial sociology. And as a result of that, along with other humanities courses, I learned more about the actions of people.
mm,
And then I spent a tremendous amount of time taking collective bargaining courses, negotiating courses, and you learn very, very quickly. Uh, for example, if I went to shake your hand right now, how would you shake my hand if you can show me?
yeah. I would extend my hand out.
Okay, so you would do that. and you're loose. You're not
Mm-hmm.
extended all the way.
Right.
So what you're telling me is that you're a little apprehensive and you're straight up on your handshake. But if you turn my hand over, like you can see now,
Mm-hmm.
you want to dominate me. If you turn my hand on the other side, I mean, you want to dominate me. But if I turn my hand over, I want to dominate you.
Oh, interesting.
So there are little tells that you look for. I mean, I can go on and on with this. There are wonderful books that have been written about tacit or nonverbal communication,
Mm-hmm.
and nonverbal is just as important as verbal communication. So, in learning about the art of selling, it's putting the buyer in a very relaxed situation. And I've said this for many years. Most people in sales use the term buyers are liars. And I refuse to accept a term like that. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that buyers are afraid. They're afraid to give you all the information because they believe you'll have leverage over them. Yet at the same time, when I began sharing with you, developing trust, respect, and rapport, they will
Mm-hmm.
tell you everything. Once they're comfortable with you, they will tell you everything you need to know to help them move forward and purchase what you have to sell if they're financially capable.
What is probably, in your opinion, the greatest way to make a buyer comfortable? Is it's sort of it's through conversation, or do you think it's just rapport and that kind of takes some time, or what do you think is, I guess, the easiest way to make a buyer comfortable, in your opinion?
And there's the fastest way is to let them talk.
Mm-hmm.
There's another adage, we have two ears and one mouth. So you should be asking questions 67% of the time and speaking only 33% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or another direction I'm going to take you, Rudyard Kipling was a famous author and many years ago. And he also was a journalist. And he has a poem called Six Serving Men. Uh, and they taught me all I knew. Their names are what and where and why and when and who
Mm-hmm.
and how. And so, in essence, if you can ask questions of individuals initially, let them speak. So, if you ask an open ended question of who, what, where, why, when, and how, you're going to get more information. If I said to you, how many pennies are in a dollar? You're going to say 100.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any opinion or statement from you. I have just one answer.
Right.
On the other hand, if I said to you, what are the most important rooms in a home and why? You could be speaking for the next 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So the more I let you speak, the more comfortable you become with me. And why? Because you're hearing your voice.
Oh, that's a great point.
And so the more you hear your voice, the more comfortable you become with me as a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
And the other point is the more that I use your name in the presentation, the more relaxed you'll become because psychologically, you like the sound of your name spoken by other people.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like the psychology behind selling is something that's seems like overlooked, right? But it's something so important to create the foundation of a good seller. It's just simply like you're saying, the psychology behind it. It seems like there's a lot of different things that you can look for in a buyer, like you said, to kind of either deter you from working with them, or I mean, making them feel more comfortable, and allowing them to kind of pursue the sale that you're going to be imparting on them. But that's a great point. I think that's such a great discipline to look into, the psychology behind actual selling. Is this sort of something that you also teach to people as well, the psychology part of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also a lost art of communication.
Hmm.
We spend a tremendous amount of time training our salespeople as well as others on the art of putting three sentences together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I've been teaching at university level, students have lost the art of even defining and writing a paragraph correctly.
Oh, well.
And I've said to them, I mean, what I do scholastically is take points off for grammar and misspelled words. And if they're willing to correct them, I'll give them the corrected grade that they're able to achieve. And not necessarily on content, but I will on grammar and misspelled words. And it's critically important that you're able to articulate and communicate properly because we're all being judged every moment of every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a scenario for you. So real estate broker comes to you. They're running a team of, let's say, 5 to 15 agents. They've got a decent, local reputation, but they're not growing and can't figure out why. And you essentially have 60 minutes with them. What would you do in that session with them? What's kind of the first approach that you would take, or kind of first questions or first things that you would look at?
Great question. Great question. The first thing I would do is begin to ask them, what do you do on a daily basis? Each of them. And what I would like are bullet points. In an hour, each of them could end up speaking to me for 15, 30, 45 minutes. So what I want to do is narrow it down and then take an aggregate or an average of the aggregate to determine what are the biggest concerns that I can ascertain. And then what I want to try to do is start mitigating their concerns as quickly as possible. And what I've done, whether it's in a sales training program like that, or even working with a consumer, you always want to answer the most difficult and challenging question first, or concern first. And then you want to get to the next difficult, all the way down to the least challenging or difficult. Then what you've actually done is in a we versus they scenario, or pro versus con, all of these con situations, you've now answered, mitigated, and developed reasonable action information to help them overcome these objections. And you're moving them all to the we, or the pro side. And it's just a phenomenon to listen to who your buyers are, whether it's salespeople in a room trying to learn how to be better salespeople, or consumers, be it business to business or business to consumer, who have issues and need to get them resolved.
So switching over to now marketing, kind of a similar scenario, but basically, let's say a small brokerage has a limited marketing budget. Where does most of it go that it shouldn't, and where's the real opportunity at? Like where should they be focusing their budget mainly on for marketing? If smaller brokerage firm, not a lot of budget maybe for their marketing department.
What I'm going to do is take you on a different path than you probably think. Everybody will tell you, oh, you have to do digital marketing. Whatever you do, you have to get your name out there and do digital marketing. I'm going to do a pendulum swing and take you all the way back when you started to ask me about economic development. And I'm going to share with you and the audience today, the 17,000 plus that are listening. I'm going to share with them, pick an area of expertise that number one, you have to offer. Think about it and what you can offer, and then who you can offer it to. Best advice that I can give you with a limited budget: get involved with an economic development council, or a chamber of commerce, or a home builders association, or a board of realtors, or other trade associations that you may feel more comfortable. There are very few real estate brokers that are participating in the Home Builders Association. It gives you an opportunity to meet all of the people, all the builders and developers. Yes, they're building and selling homes, but guess what? In Metro Denver, we have approximately 565 companies that belong. 175 of them are builder developer members. The balance are trades. And guess what? As a real estate broker, if in your market people are moving 15% a year, whatever the percentage is, you can go to all of those companies and introduce yourself and let them know that you'll be able to work with teach them how to purchase new real estate, existing or new, and what the pitfalls are and what the excitement is. And you'd be surprised. You can create your own seminars, how to purchase a home. You can work with a title company, mortgage company, a bank, uh,
Hmm.
another real estate brokerage company, or whomever that you choose to work with, and offer educational seminars to these employees.
That's a
You
great
can
idea.
also create consumer seminars. And I had one gentleman who uh, really didn't have a lot of money starting out, and he was a mortgage broker selling reverse mortgages. And he came to me and he said, "What should I do?" And I shared with, and I knew him with, he had had a career in the industry, but it was in a different business development opportunity.
Hmm.
And I sat down with him and I said, "You're selling reverse mortgages. So, what you want to do very simply, get a central location. Our Home Builders Association had a central location, lots of meeting rooms. He rented a meeting room for $30 for an hour, and would market and advertise on a weekly basis that he would educate you about financing, purchasing a new home,
Yeah.
existing or new, and he would teach you all about the right mortgage instruments to use. And typically, he would get usually 4 to 16 people that would show up.
Hmm.
He would use, and I taught him to use homeowner associations as a way to advertise his ongoing meetings because it was very inexpensive.
Hmm.
And developed, he was one of the leading mortgage brokers, not only locally or statewide or regionally, nationally, as a result of doing these weekly seminars.
Wow.
No, I mean, virtually. Do you know what the expense was? The expense was the associations. The expense was a press release every now and then about
Hmm.
educating consumers. Uh, and he and I told him they're not coming for refreshments. You want to have, like, in the summer months, lemonade, the winter months, hot apple cider. Stay away from coffee at night. You want to do this for an
Yeah.
hour from in our market in Denver, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock was a perfect time.
Hmm.
And he never looked back from day one.
So how long were these seminars? About an hour, 2 hours, maybe?
Hour, they're an hour.
So he was
Yeah.
essentially allocating an hour, maybe an hour, 2 hours, back end to research and all that. But I mean, that seems extremely valuable for a little amount of time. Um, that really projected in. That's nationwide too. That's really impressive. That's a great piece of advice right there. Um, so I guess it's kind of like an unconventional place to look, right? In terms of marketing, setting up these seminars. That's just something that,
Sure.
yeah, outside of conventionally what you do, that's a great idea. Want to go through another scenario too. So, you drive through pretty much any suburb in America, you see lots of different real estate brokerage signs essentially looking the same. There's a headshot of the real estate agent on there, maybe different color schemes, but more of the same. What is something that could be a meaningful differentiation to kind of put a firm above or aside from the rest, if that makes sense? So to kind of stand out from the rest, what's something that they could do that would be meaningful for the firm?
Well, every real estate broker should consider educate continuing education and obtaining as many certifications as they possibly can to be an advantageous marketing tool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, People, I mean, you and I are baseball fans, and we love when Schwarber gets up to bat and hits a home run.
Greatest leadoff hitter, ever, maybe. But yeah, yeah.
So we thrilled to the success of winners.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and uh, and so the more designations you have, you're showing your potential or prospective buyers that you really care about the industry and you're a performer.
Right.
On the other hand, it's the gross sales volume that you've created. And it's really simple. Do you want to work with somebody that's done 467 sales, closed 467 sales, or do you want to work with somebody that's done six?
That's a good point.
So in essence, your success in the industry is amazing. I mean, it's the key at the end of the day. as a real estate broker, one-on-one, you really have to create the identity that you're knowledgeable, that you know
Mm-hmm.
your market. And for example, uh, you may not know a 60 mile by 60 mile or 360 square miles, excuse me, 3,600 square miles of a market. But if
Mm-hmm.
you specialize, in a trading area that's a smaller market, and you become that expert, and you know where the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker is, you know all about the schools, public, private, parochial, uh, charter, etc. You know all about the medical facilities, and I'll share this with you. I mean, uh, when we come into a market, we learn all of these things in selling new homes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things that I did, um, when I first started on-site sales uh, over 50 years ago, one of the first things I did in selling a family community, I went to all the schools and met all the principals.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there with Kyle and his beautiful bride, and they have a question about elementary schools, the public elementary school. I pick up the phone and I call the principal, Mr. Harding, and I say, George, I'm here with Kyle and his family, and they really would like to learn more about the school district and especially your outstanding blue ribbon elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Harding says, Robert, without question, when can we meet with Kyle and his family? And I turned to Kyle and I said, I'm on the phone with Principal Steve Harding. He'd like to know when you can stop by. The elementary school is 8 blocks away, and I'll give you a map. And Mr. Harding is ready to meet with you. And not only that, Kyle, I'm going to go with you to this meeting. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be happy to drive and take you and the family, and we'll go meet Steve right now. Can you imagine how you would feel?
I'd feel great. I'd feel very comfortable with that. Yeah, with that person. So yeah, feel amazing.
So you learn, all of the nuances of your trading area.
Mm-hmm.
You learn, how to differentiate yourself through education, pragmatic and academic.
Yeah.
And people want to know as much information about a trading area as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And we we put together all of this trade information about the local marketplace. So, for example, we can point you in the right direction of Children's Hospital. We can point you with you having children.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. We can point you in the direction of the best educators. If you needed uh, uh, some special training for one of your children, be it ballet lessons or music lessons, we
Mm-hmm.
have all that information. So the differentiator for that broker also is to maintain and have that information and be
That's
able to.
Yeah, great points. I want to transition into technology and the use of technology, or at least what you've seen in the real estate industry. Um, so I have, I guess, another hypothetical or scenario for you. So let's say a smaller mid-sized brokerage owner came to you today and said, "Hey, I want to use technology somehow to better my business." What would you tell them? So not necessarily tools that make, nice presentations, although it could be nice conference presentations or anything like that, but two or three things that allow them to move the needle in order to scale and grow their business.
And that's a general broker or a builder developer.
We could do both, either or. So more so
Okay,
looking
well,
at like lead
let,
generation, is that important? Their CRM or database they use, is that important? Those sort of technology
well,
tools.
yeah, yes. I'm very involved with the National Association of Home Builders, and recently I completed a course, a 3-hour virtual course
Mm-hmm.
in basically generating qualified leads and referrals. And one of the key things, referrals are everywhere, as well as, of course, creating the ability to generate leads. I shared
Mm-hmm.
with you earlier, for example, getting involved with the trade association is critical. I mean, yesterday I went to a sales and marketing council meeting for the Home Builders Association of Metro Denver. And there were 30 people there. I walked out with, and I knew most of the people. I walked out with 2 new leads. Those leads I wouldn't have gotten sitting at home, or driving to a store to pick up a bow tie.
Right.
The is that again, that you're going to hear this over and over. Most people will tell you in educating you in real estate, the 3 most important ingredients are location, location, location. We've defied that throughout my entire career. The 3 most important ingredients are contact, contact, contact. Nothing happens without business people doing business doing business with consumers or business to business. Another way of saying it, a gentleman that my beautiful bride Penny and I went to graduate school with, a character by the name of Lucien Pierre Gesmar. And Lucien was from an old line family business in France, and shared with us in our first year of meeting him. The business of doing business is doing business with people. And all day long, when you talk about digital marketing and SEO and social media, the problem is you're not engaging people directly. And there's a fear in the marketplace today about maintaining eye contact. You have great eye contact. Most of the folks in real estate coming in do not. Most of the people are afraid of engaging. And if you're going to do business, you've got to learn social skills. You've got to learn how to communicate verbally. You've got to be able to stand up straight. You don't have to wear a tie and suit. You have to be clean. You have to be neat. And yet, most people don't understand that the more that they meet people and the more that they ask for referrals, the more they're going to get new qualified leads.
Yeah, I mean, especially in an industry like real estate where you're, like I said before, client facing, right? You're speaking to clients, meeting with them in person. I don't think there's any way that technology can make that better, right? You have to learn all those skills yourself. You have to present yourself in a professional manner, that sort of thing. And those, I don't see a way that technology can kind of help with that. I think that has to be incumbent on the person themselves, to build their own reputation, learn how to communicate properly with other people, their clients especially. I just don't see a place for technology, at least in that portion of being, a successful real estate broker or real estate agent.
Yeah, what we have done though, talking about technology, with another associate of mine, we've put together through our company a platform. You may be familiar with DSA, a digital sales assistant.
Yeah.
So what we did, yes, we have a digital sales assistant. We also have a digital trainer, sales trainer, a DST, a DSA, and a digital sales manager. And what we were able to do is put together an employee base, an AI employee base of 18 different professions.
Wow.
And we were able to take my intellectual property of 54 years to date, that is over 1,000 articles, all about sales, management, and marketing, all about the 3,000 plus presentations I've made, all about policy and procedure manuals that I've written over the years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so our property is intellectual property. It's not like giving a question or two to Chat GPT and saying, I want to build this, et cetera.
Right.
They don't have 54 years of my background, successful background. So what we're doing is using technology above and beyond. And we've been starting to meet national and multinational companies on introducing our technology. And in the process, I mean, I had one character share with me last week that he wants to have complete control over his own destiny. And we appreciate that. But he also told me that he spent $4 million in developing the technology that we already have.
Oh.
And it only takes us 5 days to put together a customized DSA, a digital sales assistant for you, that's ready, willing, and able to take buyers out of the marketplace and schedule appointments for your sales team.
I think, yeah, and that kind of transitions into the whole question or idea I had of AI and where you see AI fitting into real estate. But it sounds like, you guys have already kind of looked into technology yourselves with the DSAs and everything. Because I do think though that their AI can be good, right, for different businesses, especially the real estate industry. It's just a matter of finding where the best fit is for it. So I mean, the DSA in general, that concept sounds like it's going to immensely help sellers or I'm sorry, yeah, sellers in the real estate industry.
95% of everyone that is initially met, and it doesn't make a difference what industry, is never
Hmm.
followed up after the first meeting.
Yeah.
Either salespeople don't think that a customer is worthy, or they just place them in a category that they're not as primary
Right.
or important to them.
Yeah.
And what the DSA does, it never goes to sleep. It's
Hmm.
awake 24/7, working 24/7.
It's amazing.
And it reacts to you and your specific needs in
Hmm.
helping you define, you know, what's important to the company, to our company to help you become the best buyer.
Right.
And after we understand through our questions and your answers, we're able to set up a meeting for you with
Hmm.
appropriate salesperson that will be your point person through the entire sale and after.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
So, as
Um,
a direct result for you, Kyle, as an owner of a company, what it's doing is taking that instead of having only 5% of the people that are followed up, you now
hmm.
have 100%.
Remarkable.
And how much, the other question I'm going to ask too, we know from conversion rates what it costs to bring one buyer to a new home community. We
Hmm.
know what that conversion rate is after you've met them and then you've closed them, how much it costs. So in a typical example, if you had 100 visitors in the course of a month,
Hmm.
spend $10,000 on marketing just for the fun of it. In quick math, each customer is worth $100 to
Okay.
come through. And then let's say that you close five. So if you close five, the cost of closing five was $500.
Hmm.
So then you say to yourself, what happened to the other 95? And the salespeople typically don't follow up with them.
That's a good point. Yeah, they kind of overlooked, right? Just onto the actual people who have closed, and that's it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and human nature is very interesting. But
Mm.
again, when you go back, through the pragmatic and academic education that I've had, I mean, I've been blessed, to have had my father, having gone through as a third generation of an old line business. I mean, at the end of the day, uh, think of the fact that all the mistakes that he had made, rather, and he was able to save me based
Mm.
on his ancestors. And then I was lucky to meet my best friend's father, and I married my best friend,
Mm.
and her father ran an international company as well, and had 16 manufacturing glass plants throughout the United States. He too was third generation, and he was able to educate me the same way my father was,
Mhm.
because I would ask them questions all the time. And it was interesting. There was a character by the name of Samuel Clemens who changed his name for authorship purposes to Mark Twain.
Oh.
And he said something to the effect that when I was 14 years old, I couldn't believe how stupid my father was. And by the time I got to be 21, it was amazing how much he had matured.
Mm.
So in essence, learning from all of these mentors that I had shortcut my learning career tremendously by learning what to do correctly. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, both of them shared how important creating the best buying experience is for each and every buyer. And our products in our family business, they were really good without question. And I sampled and understood all of them. Yet at the same time, our bottles, our packaging was second to none.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even for the equivalent of a quart of wine, it was placed in a decanter. And all of we had regular bottles too for normal commercial purposes, but we had decanters and our labels were pieces of art.
Oh.
And we created the experience working with top flight advertising and creative agencies. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned never settle for second best. Always do your best to be the best, create the best experience. And I was very, very, lucky. I mean, my two sons grew up and they take after their mother. They're really, really smart. And as I shared with you in a conversation, Jason, our oldest son, helped found Build a Bear Workshop,
Oh,
second
wow.
hire corporation in charge of all the marketing, sales, IT initially.
Wow.
And they're still using his protocols today. But what was it?
Amazing.
It creating the experience,
Mm-hmm.
create customer experience all the way through the acquisition and after, as well as making sure that every customer got as much as they bargained to pay for and more.
Mm-hmm.
Grew an outstanding company with 500 stores worldwide.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
it's about the experience. So when we teach our sales people, we teach our marketing people, you really have to get into the heads of everyone that you're working with and pay attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
And don't provide them with want, provide them with their need. And there's a big difference. Wants you may never be able to accomplish and acquire. Needs you can usually acquire. Stay focused to the need.
Love that. Yeah, definitely love that. Before we go, last question for you. So there's someone listening to this right now. Maybe they're a solo agent 3 years in who's hit a wall, or maybe even a broker owner running a team of, let's say, 10 people. They're trying to figure out kind of how to get to the next level. You essentially have 60 seconds with them. What do you say to them?
Sit down and write everything that you've been doing the last 5 days, 5 business days. Write everything down, journal it. Then also, uh, I want you to record your telephone conversations and or your in-person conversations on a tape recorder, or a listening device.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to listen to yourself and I want you to read your journal. What are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? And in essence, if you can reflect on your performance and have other people critique you at the same time that are there with you and shadowing you, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to overcome your obstacle. I had an outstanding salesperson, had created over 1,250 consumer sales. He went into a funk, and we had a discovery center. And what I did with this gentleman, I placed a tape recorder. As soon as I knew that a customer was coming through the door,
Mm-hmm.
I ran over, turned on the tape recorder, and it only took 2 or 3 sessions for the salesperson to hear himself speak. He said, "That's not," he said, "me." He should have said, "That's not I." But he said, "That's not me."
Yeah.
And he said, and I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Gee, I know what I need to do to correct myself." But you've got to, when you get into a funk, you've got
Mm-hmm.
to work yourself out. Another quick thing: read as much as you can. Do everything you can. I don't care if it's Archie takes Veronica to the beach. You need to constantly read so that you can articulate better when verbalizing and or writing the information. You need to practice, practice, practice. Whatever challenge you have as a closer, practice. Take 10, 20, 30 closing techniques and
Mm-hmm.
perfect them. And the more that you can become knowledgeable uh, and work through your difficulties, you're going to overcome them because you're going to master them. So there are so many things that you can do to make a difference. And hopefully today, Kyle, what we were able to do is titillate the fancy of everyone's mental genius and stimulate them to make some changes based on some of the points that we've had the opportunity to share today. And frankly, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and work with you. And I really appreciate the opportunity to participate with you in today's podcast.
Thank you so much, Robert. Appreciate you having being on my podcast, taking the time, and all that information was so valuable. And then, lastly, where can people find you at? You got social media or website, all of that.
Our operators are standing by right now. So our main number is area code 303 500 3400. Area code 303 500 3400. Yet I'm always excited about sharing my cell phone. And Kyle, I spell cell phone SELL. And my cell phone is area code 303 601 5840. 303 601 5840. Email address simple, Robert at northstarsynergies.com. Robert at northstarsynergies.com. Our website is creatively called northstarsynergies.com. And why are we North Star? Because we follow the North Star and lead you to it with synergy and synergies.
Love it. Thank you so much, Robert. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day. Keep selling and closing.